Hi guys, in today's video I wanted to discuss viscous fan clutches. I've always kind of thought that the viscous fan clutch was kind of a cool idea just because it's so different than all the other fan clutches out there. Electromagnetic fan clutches and air operated fan clutches, those clutches are either engaged and that fan is spinning or they're disengaged and the fan isn't. Whereas the viscous fan clutch is its own little unique animal that operates off of differing degrees of clutch slippage. So they're never fully engaged, they're never fully disengaged. They're either slipping a lot and the fan's going really slow, or they're slipping very little and the fan is going pretty fast. And so the other cool thing about a viscous fan clutch is that they are easy to work on as a unit or an assembly in themselves, at least most models are. This one's already been kind of taken apart that we're looking at right here. And normally on these viscous fan clutches right here in the middle where this tab is, there would be like a bimetal strip, like a little curly strip there, or there would just be a flatter, clear looking thing. And the bimetal strip type is just ambient temperature around this fan clutch. As it heats up, it causes this thing to expand and it opens the valve in here that lets a viscous fluid also expand and push the clutch plates together. And then when it cools down, it contracts, it closes that valve, and that's how it controls the amount of slippage inside the clutch. Some versions of a viscous fan clutch will have wiring going to them, and instead of using ambient temperature around a bimetal strip to control the valve inside here, the computer is controlling the valve inside here, but the slippage part is still the same, whether it's electrically controlled or controlled via the temperature around this strip. Hope that makes sense. So like I said, this one's already been taken apart, but you can see where you have bolt holes that hold this front in, and on the front you've got the heat shrinks, right? All these different heat shrinks. This design right here makes it to where there's more surface area on this fan clutch so that heat from the fan clutch is able to be dispersed to the atmosphere a lot easier. And that is kind of really important on these because since there is slippage, there is heat being generated more so than on a regular fan clutch. So we want that extra surface area for that heat. If I was going to need to build this, let's say the clutch material was worn out, how do I know that the clutch material is worn out? Well, this one is super easy to test as well, because since there's always slippage, if this thing had a fan attached to it, and I was able to grab the fan and spin it but feel resistance, but it stopped as soon as I let go of it, that's what I want to feel. That would be a perfectly normal functional fan clutch. I can rotate the fan, I feel resistance, but when I let go of it, it stops. If I go and it freewheels, I got extremely bad clutch wear in there. Or if it even just spins a little bit after I let go of it, I've got some clutch plate wear. So that's when I would consider taking the cover off, and I just remove the bolts that hold the cover on, separate the cover, and inside here you got clutch material, and you would just take these bolts out, remove this clutch, get the new clutch that came in the kit, put it in here. A lot of times that kit is also going to come with a packet of that gel that you put in here to replace what you're losing. And then you just do a quick visual inspection of this piece, make sure that it's not excessively worn, cracked, showing extreme signs of overheating by discoloration or something, and then you slap it back together and bolt it back up. So viscous fan clutch is a pretty cool topic, pretty cool to work on, pretty easy to figure out and troubleshoot, diagnose, and repair. If you guys want to learn more about the air operated and the electrical fan clutches, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you've ever rebuilt one of these. I know that I say that you can do this, but I also know that out there in the industry, there's a lot of things that you can do that you don't necessarily always get the opportunity to do just from time constraints. Whereas the typical truck driver, there's a lot of stuff we might be able to fix on a truck that we replace just because it's going to cost that driver more to wait the amount of time it takes us to replace something than it does for him to get that part and get back on the road making money again. I don't know what category this falls under in the third-party truck market world. So if you're an experienced technician, you're watching this, do you ever get the chance to build these, repair them, or is it usually just slap a new one on it and sit it down the road type thing? I'm just really curious about that because I've not been in a situation where that really applied to me. So let me know. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.